Hello, welcome to this tutorial. This is Timeline and Cinemachine Part 2. And we're going to be extending our knowledge from the last live workshop that you'll find on Discord. Extending our knowledge of Timeline. And today we're going to be looking at creating Timeline with animations and how we can override and control those animations. And at the end, I've got a bit of a challenge for you because I know you all love my challenges. So first of all, what I'm going to do is create a new empty object, and it's always good to have a separate timeline object. There we go. And then we can, as it says here, to begin, create a new timeline, create, you should know all this. If you do not know this, go back to the first live lecture I did with this within session time. What I'm going to do, find timeline. I've already got something called timeline. I might just call this timeline ybot. Save. So I've got some animations already from Mixamo here, as you can see. So there's my the ybot itself. Let's have a preview of it. There we go. It's in its T-pose. What we need to do with any kind of animations, so these are absolutely fresh from Mixamo. I need to make sure that my rig is set to humanoid, and as we can see here, nothing is set at the moment. So I'm going to go to humanoid. I'm going to say create from this model for my avatar definition. Standard 4 bones, absolutely fine. Click apply. That'll apply that through there. And to start off, what we'll do is we'll put him into our scene. So let's do a plane. There we go. I'm just going to call this floor so I know. Make it static so it doesn't bother me. And then I can put my ybot in there. Lovely. And I might make the floor just a little bit bigger. Lovely. And don't like that intensity of the light. Lovely, fantastic. Cool. And just to make sure that my camera can see everything, game view. Lovely, fantastic. And we need to do this for all of these other animations as well, as we can see here. So let's do the idle, humanoid, create from this model, notes from avatar, and we're going to find the ybot avatar this time that we've just created and click apply. Lovely. And we're going to rinse and repeat through this. I may speed up this video. I don't think I've got time, so just have to watch me do this. You'll have to do this as well. I'll supply these animations. And then we can go from here. So this is one of the most important things. Make sure it's all set to humanoid. If the animation is set to humanoid, we have a lot more control of it within Unity. I think this is the last one. Boom. There we go. Lovely. Fantastic. So that's all set up. Our ybot is in our scene. Let's see if we can add him as an animation track. So if we go to our timeline, we are going to add our ybot, and this is going to come under as an add animation track. Boom, there we go, he's in there as an animation track. And what we could do, now we've set all of these other animations up as a humanoid, let's just drag, or actually, you know what we need to do? If I drag this in, I'll probably have a problem. It probably won't work for me. Yeah, here we go, we've got this weird Mixamo problem here. So if you come across this, as you can see here, it's kind of sunk in a little bit. Will he actually play? Or yeah, it will sink in a little bit. But what I'm going to do is, I've had issues with this before, is I'm going to duplicate all of these animations. Because essentially they're kind of like locked. So if I click on this, if I went onto my animation, I can't edit anything. I can't edit any of these keyframes or anything like that. As you can see, I'm clicking and dragging and nothing is happening. So it's because it's locked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this idle, duplicate it, and with the duplicated one, I'm going to rename this to idle. And I'm going to use all the duplicated ones. So this should possibly fix our issue here. So let's click this idle in. There we go. It's still sunk in, which is a little annoying, but we can fix that in a bit. Let's just make sure. So punching, let's go dump. Command D, duplicate that again, and we'll change the name to punching. Punching, right turn. Does some right turn, walk back. Walk back. Let's see where we are with that. Getting there, I think. That goes back in, that goes back in, that goes back in. Walk back, and then we should have the Y bot should be okay. What's that one? Let's put that one back in. So we've got idle, punching, right turn, walk back, and then we have this other walk back as well. Let's just quickly do this one. To duplicate. Walk back 2. Cool, lovely. So we should hopefully be able to fix or sort out these animations. So I've got my idle in there. And then if we press play on this, he is idling absolutely fine. Let's have a click on that track. It's annoying that it's fixed him to that position, but well, what we do is we'll drop our floor and see what we can do just for now. So what I'm going to do, lock this so I can still see my timeline, and then do. There we go, cool. So hopefully if I drag in some other animations, it won't change the transform, because that would be really annoying. So let's add in a punch. So this is what we've got before. And as you can see, if I press play, the animation will stop. If I drag this out and keep pressing play, we can see that the animation will just stop, but we're still within the timeline here. So because this is timeline animations and not animator animations, it's slightly different. So we wouldn't use this for kind of sort of movement. This would be purely NPC kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is click on our idle here, and as you can see, it says hold here. For loop, we can actually go and change to loop on, and there we go. That should change our loop animation. Make sure it does loop. There we go. So now our animation is looping there. Absolutely fantastic. Cool. So I'm going to scroll it down just to 4 seconds, and we can add a punching animation. There we go. And again, what I'm going to do is blend these in together. So what we can do is press play, and that should blend, and boom. So that's quite nice. Wicked. We can even copy and paste that. Let's move that to there so it crosses over with this punch. So we should have 2 punches here. Boom, boom, boom. So idle, 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 punch and punch. Lovely, fantastic. Cool. So this is kind of the basics. We've done this before with the obviously basic primitives. We're now getting a little bit more complex with these animations as well. But that's absolutely fine. Let's see what we can do. So let's copy and paste this. Let's go copy. Let's paste this. Let's go stretch out our timeline a little bit. Put in our idle again. So we do 2 punches and then you should go back to idle. Let's have a look at this, make sure it does this quite nicely. Idle, punch, punch, idle. Wicked. This is really nice. So what we then need to have a look at is we're going to then add our right turn. So here's our right turn animation. Add that in there. And again, I'm just going to smooth that in. And I'm going to drag that out. Probably just make sure. Let's put that on loop just in case. Actually, I might put it down to there actually. And then so we do right turn there. There we go. That's cool. And then I'm going to do move backwards. There's my more walk backwards. There we go. Let's have a look at this animation. Let's make sure I've got the right walk backwards. So there we go. So we've got walk backwards here and then walk backwards here, where one is in place and one isn't in place, okay? And I downloaded these two and I put them in a pack when you look at this, because one is is in place and one isn't in place. So what we want is we want the ones that are not fixed in place for this, okay? Because we're not using any kind of transform to move these. We're not using code to move these objects at all. So we want to make sure that we have the actual physical move back and not the one that's stuck in the center here, okay? So I've just got those two as an example, but you can use whichever one, but obviously use the one that's actually moving away from the center. Cool, so what I'm going to do is add this walk back in, there we go, and then blend that in just ever so slightly, there we go. So if we play this through, let's have a look and see if we have any issues. I'm going to press A to look at all of my animations here. Press A and press play. So idle, 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 idle. We should have a punch, punch, back to idle, and then we should have a turn back, and then, whoa, so there we go. We had a bit of a weird one there, where as our animation plays through idle, which I'm going to actually just crunch down a little bit, be right. So idle, 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 turns, and then I want him to move back here. But look what happens. As the animation plays, he then reverts to his original animation. And in the previous lecture within class, I showed you something called offsets. If we click on this, this will match the offset to this animation here, the right turn animation. So let's watch this. Let's right click on way back and go to match offsets of previous clip. Boom. There we go. And now when I play this, we can see, hopefully, it will walk back because it's meeting the offset. So the X, Y, and Z values of the previous clip. Okay. And I know I showed you this before with primitives, but it was a bad example, so I thought I'd show you a better example here. So let's scroll this back. Let's press A again to see the full thing. We can squidge. I want to squidge my animation, my idle. Let's quickly highlight all of those and drag them down. So we've got a shorter idle. Press play. Idle, idle, idle. Punch, punch, idle again. And this should be the turn. And then we walk backwards because we've now got that offset in place. Lovely, fantastic, awesome. So really happy with that. And what we can do is you can practice this as well. This is absolutely fine, but I do have a challenge for you. Do not worry. So what we are going to do is quickly have a look at animation overrides. So let me just highlight this, delete this. Ooh. Backspace doesn't work. There we go. Delete that, and he's floating there. Well, you know, I can put him in that idle, and he'll float back into that one position. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our idle. So quickly crack in the idle, and scroll it down just a little bit. So we've just got a little bit of idle, and then we're going to have our move backwards. So let's have a look. Walk back, and we're going to have them crisscross just a little bit. And let's have a look at those animations. So we're idling, and then we're walking backwards. Awesome. Cool. And what I'm going to do, we can stretch this out just a little bit. And again, they've got the hold. So what I'm going to do is put on loop. There we go. And we'll loop that animation around so I can keep pressing play. Fantastic. Cool. So let me drag this out to about 10 seconds just as an example. And at 5 seconds, I want another animation to play in place. I want an animation to go boom right at 5 seconds. I want a random punch there. So how can we blend another animation with the animations that we already have? Well, we can do that. It's possible, and it's using something called animation overrides as well as avatar masks. Okay, so you've kind of all heard of these words before, but I'll explain how we can use them. So first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to click on these three dots here, and we are going to add an override track. If we click this override track, it creates a whole new channel for us, which is nice and lovely. And what we're going to do is we are going to add our punch animation into the override track. So where's that punch animation? Punching, and I can add it right there into this boom. Is that at 5 seconds? No, it isn't. Okay, boom. Check it off there. There we go. So at the moment we have and boom. Can you see that it pings him back to that position, which is quite irritating. So what we can do is use something in the inspector of our override track called clip transform offsets. Okay, so and what we can do, let's have a look at what he pings back to, and really he should be like that, just there. So if we could even put a marker there, but let's see if I can just do this manually. What we can do here is go here, and I can kind of, as soon as I go, boom, I want him to be like over here. Let's have a quick look where that kind of, so this cube here, try and make him in that cube just there. So this cube here. So let's go and click here. We can move those kind of transforms back over there. No worries. Cool. And we're going to move him back around about here. So let's have a look. So dun dun dun, punch, and it. Oh, so it's still a bit dodgy, but it's not. Let's see where it just is about in this block here, and then he's. It's just a pose really. That foot's in the right place, but it's. So what we can do. Let's press F to focus in on this animation, and let's hold Command or Control, and we can blend this animation and blend this animation transition. Cool, and let's have a look. That looks a bit better. Cool, so let's go press A so we can see the whole of our timeline. If we press play, walking backwards. Not too bad, but it's still a bit shifty, isn't it? It's a little bit dodgy. So let's go back to focus. Let's go Command. And it doesn't want to change. Oh, there we go. There we go. Try and even more slide these in. A to view all of our timeline. Let's press play again. Lovely. So his legs are still in the weird position, and this is where we can use our avatar mask. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into our project. I might as well put it into here because this is where our other avatar is probably living anyway. Right click, go to create, and we are going to look for, typical, can't see it now. There we go, an avatar mask. There we go. So create avatar mask. And I'm just going to call this punch mask because it's all to do with my punch animations. Lovely. So what we can do with an avatar mask is turn off animation. So as my animation comes in here, the punch is fine, but it's the legs. So what if I can turn off the animations of the leg part for my punch, and then I have the punch bar override, and then I'm still walking backwards? Well, this is what we can do. So if I click on my punch mask here, go to humanoid, and we can see where we can turn off these animations. So what I'm going to do is go bump, 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 bump. So that's the position, bump, and we want to keep the legs. So we just want to turn off all of the legs, and that will set our animation punch mask. Cool. So where can we add this avatar mask? Well, what we can do is click on the override, and there we go. It's asking for the mask. Click on the dot. We can see the punch mask. Bump. Put that in. Let's play this through. Lovely. And he continues walking. Absolutely fantastic. Wicked. So, challenge time. What I would like you to do, using only timeline, and I'll write this on the Discord as well so you can see it in like writing and not just get it from this task. Using only timeline, create an animation of a character running. When he is at the end point or the finish line, have another timeline create a particle burst as like a celebration of them winning, of your Y-bot winning the race, and signaling signing the finale of the race. When this hits, at the end of the run animation, I want your character to still be running but lifting their arms up in celebration with a victory animation. I then want them to do a victory pose, And then after that victory pose, I want them then to transition into another animation where they're limping off into the distance. Okay, so I'll go through that again and I will write it down for you. So first of all, what I'd like you to do is using timeline, create an animation of a character running. They pass the finish line, bang, particle system showing the confetti of the winning the race. I then want, while your character is still running, to do victory arms, and then they stop, do a victory pose, and then after that victory pose, they then walk off, but they're limping, okay? I've supplied all of the animations. Again, I'll write this challenge in the Discord, and what I'd like you to do to show this off, once you've done that animation, go to Package Manager, download the recorder, record your game view, and upload on the chat page on the Discord of your final piece. That'd be really good to see, because the more that we do this, the more that you will feel confident with cinematics, and your final piece and your final FMP will look amazing. Hope this video was okay. Go through it again, and again, all the tasks and challenges I will write on the Discord as well as the resources. Cool. See you soon.